Penetrating the surface of the sea, the morning sun illuminates the coral reef. Some fish have already left the crevices where they've been sleeping and have begun searching for food. Others are still hiding in the shadows. Every corner of this reef contains unusual and diverse species. In a clump of hydroids, a harlequin ghost pipefish seems more curious than afraid of the passing strangers, as also do the shrimps in the neighbouring fire coral. A nudibranch couple, caring of nothing else than feeding and mating. The careful observer can glimpse creatures previously unseen even in the most exposed places, like this nameless crab living inside Acropora coral. The wall drops dramatically to about 35 meters, where a narrow slope leads to the second wall, the bottom of which measures about 120 meters deep. Visibility approaches 30 meters, revealing a scattering of diverse sponges. To us, it looks like the terrain from some distant planet. One huge sponge stands out from among the others. It is a Salvador Dali sponge, a unique and recent discovery. Gorontalo's marine environment is incredibly diverse. This area of Sulawesi contains over 500 species of hard coral alone. Within the distance of a few hundred meters are found shallow coral gardens, coral walls, pinnacles, caverns, rubble and mud. Such diversity of environment means diversity of species. A giant coral pinnacle comes into sight, like a guard emerging from the mist. Another appears, and then several more. Each pinnacle attracts different marine life. Past the giant columns, gobies watch over their neighbourhood, while shrimps keep busy excavating their common shelters. A seahorse, lacking a place to hide, imitates debris to avoid attention. A flounder lies still in the sand, until a stranger comes too close for comfort. Far below 40 meters and clearly visible is the bottom edge of the wall, ending in a sloping mud bottom. In the sheltered overhangs, protected from currents, hang colonies of strange white tunicates. Some colonies measure almost a meter in length. Tunicates are marine animals that have an in-current and an ex-current siphon for pulling in food and releasing waste. They can live singly as individuals or together as colonies. Called foxtail tunicates, these were discovered under gloomy overhangs in Gorontalo, such as the dramatic cavern that locals call Jinn Caves. Near the surface, there is a rubble area where currents and waves carry sand, making an ideal environment for a mix of marine life that lives well together. Crabs and shrimps often share the same anemone. A sea cucumber seems to pull itself along with its multiple mouthparts while searching for food. Some carry passengers, like this leopard cucumber with its emperor shrimps. Even a single starfish has hitchhikers. The emperor shrimp's relative, the soror shrimp, dresses in the colours of its host, using it for shelter. Another type of shrimp has completely different plans for the starfish. The funny and attractive harlequin shrimp looks harmless, yet preys on starfish. Working together, a pair of these shrimp will flip a starfish upside down and carry it to their lair, where it is kept alive, while the two shrimp devour it, one leg at a time. At the edge of the coral wall, the shore lies only a few meters away. In the waters above this thin strip of shallow reef is another unexpected find. Local children playing and diving just steps from the front of their homes. Flourishing in small valleys between the cliffs of Gorontalo's southern coastline are many villages facing the deep blue waters of Tomini Bay. Without the cumbersome infrastructure of cities, these places preserve the integrity and community of the traditional fishing village. Locals live as a big family, taking part in each other's daily life. One such village is Olele, which lies at the edge of Tanjung Kerbau, a huge uninhabited promontory with sheer cliffs. After school, children gather on the shore and spend their time playing in the water, paddling their small canoes, and learning skills helpful to their future profession as fishers. People here seem satisfied with the circumstances of their simple lives and with what they have. As in many places in Gorontalo, the shallow reef crest at Olele measures only a few meters wide before the coral wall begins. When Olele villagers fish along the coral, they use live bait trailing on a line from a drifting canoe. No anchors are thrown onto the coral. Here in eastern Gorontalo, depths drop hundreds of meters immediately offshore, allowing traditional fishermen easy access to pelagic fish only found far out to sea in other places in the world. Here, the main catch is yellowfin tuna, whose fresh meat is prepared for export to Japan and Korea, earning a premium price. Since the main income of villages like Olele comes from tuna exports, their reefs are not overfished and still teem with life. Tuna arriving from the open ocean immediately goes to the village processing plant to be filleted and packed hermetically, ready for export. The local men, trained in the proper techniques, need little more than a clean, sharp knife to prepare tuna meat in accordance with international health and quality standards. When the day is over, daylight fades suddenly, quickly bringing equatorial night. Community life continues on family terraces, often lasting until sunrise. The tropical night provides a glorious canopy of stars for those going to sea on traditional narrow outrigger canoes. The only guide comes from the stars, whose light reflects on the black surface of the sea. The darkness is almost complete. The moon has already set. Fishermen, each in his own canoe and with only a single gas lamp, venture out on the dark sea for a special catch. The shore soon disappears. Tonight, thunder from a faraway storm becomes another reference point, its brief lightning giving orientation to those in the canoes. In less than 15 minutes of travelling, the lamps of other fishermen, who have gone to sea earlier that night, can be seen dotting the horizon. Attracting the desired catch requires patience and teamwork. The time for waiting is over. The fishermen begin to row slowly towards land. Unseen sea creatures follow the lights. After the two canoes enter a narrow cove, lamps are extinguished or are taken inside the boat where the light cannot be seen. Only a single lamp remains. A piece of cloth is used to direct the light towards shore. Lured by the light and gathering under a single lamp, squid squirm together. Darkness blocks their escape to deep water. Squid swim in circles in the remaining light. The fishermen begin scooping them up into the boats. The squid shoot ink in a vain effort to escape. Other fishermen have baited hooks to catch various kinds of fish, also drawn into the cove by the light. While waiting, they help harvest the squid. When the squid are in the canoes, the remaining lamp is extinguished and the fishermen head for home, making room for the next pair of boats to lure its catch into the cove. All this happens in the space of 2 hours. Before dawn, all the boats are back on the shores of Alele. The people of Alele could never eat so many squid, so the overabundance of the night's catch is sold at local markets. The best location to sell the squid is at the fish auction in nearby Gorontalo city. Since it is not economical for every fisherman to take his portion of the catch to market, one man collects what everyone has caught and transports both squid and fish to town for sale. That man is Yunus. The journey to Gorontalo city takes about 2.5 hours. He leaves in the early hours before the sun fully rises. Sellers of fish and squid from other villages along the coastline travel to town for the same reason. Sellers like Yunus do not need to wait for buyers. After reaching the site of the fish auction, the catch is set on shore in front of the seller. This morning, one wholesale buyer purchases all the squid from Alele. Now there is time to greet friends and survey the day's business situation. Because of special weather conditions along the Gorontalo coastline, fishing is limited during the months of dry east winds, when swells can exceed 5 meters. This makes conditions impossible for fishermen to catch squid. However, between their earnings from tuna exports and from squid and other fish sold at the local market, Alele villagers are able to live contentedly on the wealth from their abundant sea. Once his squid are sold, Yunus takes his boat back to Alele, arriving home before midday. The province of Gorontalo lies on the north arm of Sulawesi, an orchid-shaped island which is the 5th largest in the Indonesian archipelago. Rugged mountains and parallel coastlines characterize the region. According to local legend, Gorontalo became a place when 3 mountain peaks rose from a declining sea. The geology of its coastline gives credence to this story, and the casual observer can easily see coral patterns, clams, or even a nautilus shell in the area's towering limestone cliffs. Surrounded by tall mountains, beautiful Lake Limboto lies in a large valley in the heart of Gorontalo. A geological fault cuts through the line of mountains along the southern coast, allowing rivers to drain into the vast Tamini Bay. Before the arrival of foreign influences, Gorontalo was organized into a federation of 5 kingdoms. Islam arrived with the growing regional power of the Ternate Sultanates during the mid-16th century. Small rock forts were built at that time at Lake Limboto with Portuguese assistance. The coming of the Dutch East India Company brought an end to both the federation of the 5 kingdoms and the power of its kings. The Japanese occupied Gorontalo during World War II. led by local hero Nani Wartabone, Gorontalo people resisted both the Japanese and the returning Dutch, who tried to regain control of the area after the war. Gorontalo people proudly informed visitors that the Indonesian flag first flew here, a full 3 years prior to Indonesian independence from the Dutch in 1945. In February 2001, Gorontalo province officially separated from North Sulawesi province. Its first governor, Fadel Mohammed, a well-known businessman and Gorontalo native son, was called home to help develop an area long neglected by the foreign powers. Nestled in the heart of the provincial capital, the Gorontalo Oasis Hotel welcomes guests with outstanding friendliness. Miguel's Diving, the only dive operator in Gorontalo, has its office at the Oasis. Dive pioneer Rantia Allen is on hand to welcome arriving guests and give an immediate introduction to available activities. The dive shop is well run and provides rental equipment. Arriving guests arrange everything needed for diving from the first evening, affording a trouble-free and pleasant stay. This morning, the first activity of the day for hotel staff is to introduce Gorontalo cuisine, not only by preparing the traditional corn chowder, called milu siram, but also by sharing the recipe.
Selamat siang, kami dari Hotel Oasis akan mempersiapkan bagaimana